right?
Yeah, I'm very excited for tonight's matches, particularly the second set. I do think that KT should be able to roll to a relatively easy victory over Samsung, but I have no idea who's going to win set 2.
Yeah, we'll see. And here we go. It's time, guys. Picks and bans for game number 1, KT Rolster versus Samsung Galaxy. There's a Lulu ban right off the bat. Samsung banning out Callista against KT, so pretty standard stuff initially. Oh, okay, and Agragas ban as well, so KT now wanting to deal with that. Rek'Sai as well.
Might have some interesting. Rek'Sai is really good.
You might end up with some interesting jungle picks this game. We've seen a surprising amount of Evelynn lately.
Yeah, the Nunu and Sejuani are still available. Of course, with a lot of jungle bans, it does get down to Evelynn at some points, even though she's not exactly ideal. If you could handle her early in the late game. LeBlanc will be banned, so no first pick LeBlanc on the blue side for KT.
Yep.
And Azir still up. Crown demonstrated quite a bit of skill in that champion, but Nagne's been playing a lot of Azir as well. And there's the Thresh ban.
Okay. Thresh has become sort of first pick worthy again in a lot of these matchups, it seems like.
Yeah, there's just so much you can do with him.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a potential new lock-in. Someday, of course, known for his top lane Riven play in solo queue, but we're going to be seeing that right there.
Maybe someday. Who knows? That was not supposed to be a pun, but it was a pun. I don't think we're going to see the first pick Orianna, but a Cassiopeia would not surprise me at all. Azir's still up, though.
We did see it, and there's the first pick Azir coming in. But this is going to open up a possible Kassadin pick here, or potentially even a Zed pick for Crown, but they'll go ahead and save that mid lane until the very end, and Kuve may be going back to play some Hecarim. Of course, Maokai has been probably the most high-priority top laner on this 5.8 patch in Korea so far.
True enough. Anything with the Smite has been generally working out pretty well. Looks like he's going to go with the Hecarim, I'd imagine. Yep, there's a lock-in, and they're going to take the Sivir away, too. Okay.
I think taking Sivir this early against KT is particularly smart because KT, at the end of last season, was relying very heavily on Sivir just to run and dive turrets very quickly. And so it does throw a wrench in their more all-in style that they've been favoring ever since Cinderhulk dropped. So
we might see the Gnar for someday. We'll see. You know, have you noticed lately that people have been hovering over Vel'Koz a lot?
No.
I wonder. I've been seeing that in the first few days of the season. People have been hovering over Vel'Koz a lot in Champ Select. I don't think Vel'Koz is going to get picked, but I wonder if there's some stuff going on behind the scenes.
I mean, I haven't seen Vel'Koz showing up in anybody's solo queue matches yet, so that would be a bit of a surprise, certainly.
I mean, there's these running jokes, of course, that the players have amongst themselves that result in a lot of hovering over things in picks and bans. I'd love to see the Vel'Koz support come back, but that's just me. Sejuani for score.
Sejuani and Gnar, so a lot of scaling here for KT, not going to be playing much for the early game, it would seem. Just going for heavy crowd control composition, looking for the team fights in the late game. I mean, this is a terrifying team to face late. Sejuani, Gnar, Azir, so Samsung's going to have to be careful about letting KT escape unscathed in the laning phase.
Well, when you see the poor siege that Sivir brings with what Samsung's putting together, it's probably a smart move to think about going for a really good late game scaling comp, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, Samsung does have some split pushing capabilities right now, so
I suppose.
The Gnar, though, against the Hecarim, remember this is 5.8, and Frozen Melt Black Cleaver can absolutely destroy Hecarim in a 1v1 with Gnar, so that's a really good counter pick on this patch in particular with Black Cleaver the way it is. So it will be Morgana, and it could be a mid Morgana as well. We've seen Morgana as an Azir counter pick in the mid lane in the qualifiers here for Champions, so
I bet it is going to be mid lane.
I would think so.
We'll see. Well, Lucian would certainly be a good pickup for Arrow. Very strong right now.
Also, Samsung, a team that has been known to play a lot of mid Morgana in the past. Not Crown, but Bliss. And it was one of his better champions, so...
It's true, it was his best win rate of anything, I believe.
Yeah, the team knows how to play around it, and they've drawn a lot of Morgana bans in the past.
And Jinx for Arrow. Okay, Jinx has been gaining a lot of popularity in Korea. Since last season, we've seen a lot of people play it. And Arrow's going to go with it this time. Fixer playing Alistar to help protect him, so... KT...
That is an incredibly good late game composition. If they can get through the laning phase, they're going to feel really comfortable with their composition. They've got just a crazy tank line and an immense amount of peel for this Jinx. So Samsung absolutely cannot take this into the late game, but I'm worried because I'm not seeing a lot of ways that they're going to be able to put the pressure on early. They picked Nunu here, so that's not going to be able to actually gank that effectively. They could fast push with it like Samsung likes to do. Again, Eve has been playing a lot of Nunu. He'll just walk into Fury's lane, Blood Boil Fury, and then they'll just all auto the turret, and then quickly rotate to another lane to take down the first ring of outer towers. That's kind of what they've got going for them. But in the 1v1, I mean, this Gnar is going to be able to just bully out this Hecarim with an early Frozen Mallet or Black Cleaver and wait and prolong the game and stop any kind of split pushing. Cassiopeia will round out the composition, but there's not very much peel for Cassiopeia here either. I'm not really a fan of this draft from Samsung.
It looks a little bit confused. And like we've seen this before, KT just has a way of getting really powerful teams. They've always been great in picks and bans.
Yeah, even when KT wasn't playing well last season, their drafts were always excellent.
Yeah.
Like, this is a team that probably has the best draft of any team here in Korea. They really know. It was funny too because they get these great team compositions, but the players, when they actually got their hands on them in the game, didn't seem to understand the win conditions or how to play them out. But that was changing over time, so we'll see what they can do with this one. It's a great team comp.
Yeah, that was a frustrating thing last season. Is they'd get all these amazing teams. You look at it on paper and be like, how did they lose this game? But they'd find a way. But towards the end, things got much better. There's the lineups. As we go into game number one, the first real test for this new Samsung identity here in Champion Summer. And KT, have they kept up in the offseason? Have they maintained that level that we saw at the end of the spring season? And have they, well, preferably improved, added on some more strategies? Looks like they're going to try today.
I really don't know how Samsung is planning to win this game with this particular draft and the lane matchups. If they lane swap, it's good for KT. They've got a ton of protection. They can't dive Alistar in a 2v2, so we'll interesting times.
See what they can do. Time to get in the game. And here we go. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, guys. Match for game one. KT Rolster versus Samsung Galaxy. Doan Monty here for you today. KT with an extremely powerful late game team.
Yeah, there's just no punishment is the problem. I mean, should just be farming in the mid lane, which is exactly what Samsung wants.
Oh. And they're going to find Cuvée with that boomerang. And Cuvée did not buy any items too, so he'll probably be going back and picking up a flask, I would imagine.
Yeah, we'll see what he picks. He wants to know whether the lane swap's coming in first, but they are going to try and deep ward right here to detect where the dual lane is going. I mean, I think Samsung, the only way they win this game is if they somehow very quickly kill the turret. And he's going to start Machete.
Wow, okay.
So they're anticipating a lane swap here. That's what he was waiting for. And this will be a very creative double jungle from Samsung. We almost never see a top laner start Machete, even when the lane swap situation arises.
Yeah.
And there he is.
Fury.
Brad Pitt.
Fury.
Yeah, that's the Korean name of the movie.
That's right, but he's not the commander, he's the gun.
So lane swap incoming for KT. And, uh-oh. Looks like KT's calling this one, actually. Samsung definitely does not want to be in a situation where they have a Machete Hecarim in the laning phase. This is not good for Samsung.
Well, how long do you think Cuvée is going to stay in the jungle before he goes to lane? Do you think it's just going to be the blue buff, or do you think he's going to do a few more camps?
I don't know what he's going to do right now. He's going to actually take the blue buff, it would seem. However, Eve just heading right over to the Wolves, so there'll be an early blue buff for Cuvée. And Gnar also not expecting this eventuality, is just trying to take the Raptor camp at the moment. So someday going to take it, recall, and then TP into lane. But this is going to be a really brutal matchup for Cuvée if he has to go into lane.
So it looks like Cuvé's taking the Rift Sculler as well, too. Wow, a lot of damage onto Arrow early on from Fury and Luna. So a good start for them. So yeah, they're doing, and they're taking a really early dragon, but it looks like Sumday's on to them. Here we go, they've got the Rift Scuttler, but here comes Nar. Someday on the run already, but it's enough to scare away even Cuvée for now.
No, you definitely can't do that. Of course, Sejuani right at the red buff as well, so really nothing you can do. Arrow, a bit of a hard time early, which is pretty natural considering the lane that he's dealing with, but did take some pretty silly trade damage there early on, but he'll get healed up over time by the Alistair, and they won't mind just playing under their turret, at least for the moment.
Luna doing a really good job of zoning out Arrow and Fixer near that turret. And I'm excited about Luna. I have this feeling like he might be one of the better supports we see. And hopefully I'm not totally wrong about that, but initially it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, well, Eve now taking red. We'll see if he actually makes a gank attempt right here. Nagne's playing onto the top side of the lane where he doesn't really have a whole lot of vision, so he's actually going to back out right now, go pick up some items, and Scuttler, both Scuttlers going over to Eve pretty early on. Cuvée finally returning to lane with a Saber.
Oh, okay. Samsung doing a good job of controlling, or at least staying safe with the vision early on. So do you think the skirmisher Saber is enough to sort of go toe-to-toe right now with the Snar?
Nope. Yeah, he may have some issues right now. Fortunately, he's going to push out that wave, and Nar couldn't trade right there due to how many minions were in the wave. But yeah, it's a tough lane against the Nar anyway, and it's going to be even tougher when he doesn't have very much sustain at the moment. He's actually going to go back and do the Gromp right now, so not even really going to deal with that because someday finding a way to maybe freeze this, looks like.
He's trying. Meanwhile, Nagne really getting bullied by Crown a bit in the mid lane, but not too far behind on CS. Looks like Crown's going for more of a slower scaling build this time around.
Yeah, might as well just play it safe right now.
Yep.
I don't want to be too risky at the moment. Someday going to pop away from Cuvée right there.
And here's where it seems like it's going to get kind of tough for Cuvée.
So early Sightstone from Eve. Eve likes to do this build, as many Nunus do. Just machete straight to the Sightstone, get those wards down. They can make some plays on the map, but there's not a lot of opportunity for them here. It's just KT can play so defensively with their composition that actually scoring some kills in the early game is going to be really, really difficult.
Seems like all they kind of need to do is survive. And now Score going deep into the enemy jungle for some counter jungling, or not. He's kind of checking it out. He attacked, but looks like they might want to dive Cuvée.
Yeah, and they don't really know where Nunu is, but they know he's not in that side of the jungle at the very least right now. So he's going to go back, try and hit up those wolves again. They want to stop Cuvée from farming the jungle with that Saber. So Score's right to be going in there right now. Because he's trying to counter jungle so that Cuvée is punished more for starting this machete than he would be otherwise. Cuvée already having burned through all of his potion as well. Arrow actually hit by a binding right there.
Yeah, Fury's been really good about skill shots in general in the few games that we've seen him in. And what's been impressing me about this guy more than anything is that he uses his stuff to zone really, really well.
He just denied the cannon minion right there really nicely.
Earlier he threw a dark binding that forced Arrow up and gave Fury a couple auto attacks on him too. So there's like really cool subtle stuff that's going on in this 2v2 that's giving Samsung this edge.
Well, Samsung always had, even with Wraith, a very strong laning phase from their duo lane. So it's nice to see that's continuing with Luna. Cuvée going to take the Gromp again.
Yeah.
But this, because of what Sejuani is doing, what Score is doing, it's actually forcing Eve into the bottom side of the jungle just to protect the farm so Cuvée can get it right now. So what Score is doing is really intelligent in terms of making his opponent play to him. Crown actually taking an ult right there. There's the flash.
Flash ult, and Score getting there. Can they maybe pick up the kill on Crown? No flash on Crown, but they're not able to catch him. He had the cleanse anyway, so. More damage onto Fury. Fury low, Arrow in trouble here. Here comes Someday, but that's first blood for Luna. Trying to back off now, Someday. And Fixer chasing. We'll see if he has to burn that flash. Looks like it might be pretty close. Yeah, there we go. He'll get away either way. So in the end, that 2v2 gets Samsung first blood.
Wow, so that was just a slight timing error right there. If Someday had been there half a second earlier, that probably would have gone a very different way. But Arrow barely dies in that exchange, and Samsung gets away. They do have to use every single summoner to do so, though, so Score may have a nice attempt here at a gank.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Arrow still having Flash after dying.
Well, he was bound, so he didn't really have a chance to use that ability.
I wonder what his health was at before the fight began. Probably not too high.
And he also thought that Gar would be there just a little bit earlier. It was very, very close timing.
Well, nice binding on the Fixer. Samsung trying to get some influence around Dragon here. They do a lot of damage to Fixer. Fury gets pushed back there.
Score is 6 now.
Yeah.
There's a possibility of something happening. This would be a pretty risky Dragon for them to take, especially since Fury doesn't have his ultimate yet. Someday has TP. Someday also a level up, and look at that CS difference as well. Already 25 CS in the lead after Samsung decided to buy that machete. Now, it would be a hard lane anyway, but it's just even harder when you have to start with that saber. Really brutal. Decided to go for a cloth armor as his next item, and we see the Giant's Belt coming in already, so I assume this will be a Frozen Mallet from Someday.
Yep. More positioning around the Dragon. And looks like all the wards for Samsung are going to get taken out. And KT slowly gaining a bit of position back around the Baron Pit in terms of vision. Or Baron Pit, Dragon Pit.
Instantly clearing out that pink ward as well. So again, KT just denying a lot of the Dragon pressure right here and keeping Eve where they can control him at the moment. So KT is in a really good position right now. Yeah, they gave up that first blood, but the fact the Dragon hasn't gone down yet is very important because Samsung needs to have some sort of timer on this game, and threatening a 4 or 5 stack Dragon would be a great way for them to do it, but without that, it's going to be quite difficult for them. Kuve, getting a little bit of damage right there. Someday might go in on this.
Maybe.
Nope, just going to pick up his house and walk away.
Save that one for later. Put in some Tupperware, you know. Make sure it stays fresh. And maybe a gank on Crown here. He's got Cleanse, but no Flash at the moment.
Yeah, and Nagne's Cleanse just came off cooldown as well. He traded his Cleanse for the Flash of Crown earlier.
You know, if we go back to that little skirmish near the Dragon fight a while ago, if Samsung hadn't been down in levels on most of their team, they might have been able to fight that, I feel like. Yeah,
maybe, but still would be challenging. They pursued Fixer a little bit too deep and kind of got chunked for it, so. Okay, well, Arrow a little bit behind in terms of CS, but not too bad considering that he's been in a pretty tough matchup so far this game.
Wow, that is serious wave clear.
This is, so Someday getting close to that Frozen Mallet as well, and at that point he's just going to be able to lock Kuve into lane and prevent any team fights. So KT's goal right now just is to prolong the laning phase as long as they possibly can and keep the pressure onto this Hecarim so he's unable to make plays and Someday can grow his lead even more than the 35 CS that he's already got. And from there, should be kind of a cakewalk with this team composition to a win. So Samsung has to be more aggressive right now. They need to do something, or they're going to just have the life slowly squeezed out of them in this game.
Well, looks like they're trying to get a bit of vision around Dragon at the moment. They've got the Rift Scuttler at least. But Kuve, I feel like he hasn't really had the opportunities, too, to go into his own jungle and do some farming. Eve's been taking a lot of those camps, too, so even when Kuve's been pushed back, he hasn't been able to go and sustain that way either.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Kuve this game. They were anticipating just not having this lane swap, being able to abuse that machete, but you could see it's a smart idea, but there is that risk that you end up in the 2v2 and the 1v1 and are super punished for it. And it stretched this matchup, which was already questionable. And,
Fixer and Arrow. Fixer walks into the brush, takes a little bit of damage, pop that ultimate, and without that ult, KT may have a hard time contesting this Dragon if Samsung decides to try for it.
Take a look right now. Put a face check right there. They're not punished too hard for it. I do think it was wise of Fixer to go ahead and use the Unbreakable Will really wrong. Geez, this matchup is just a disaster. Kuve could die at any time. He's playing this pretty risky.
Suppose you have to, though, huh? At this point, if you don't take risks, you're just going to keep falling farther behind.
All right, well, he's down the bottom side again, but more and more wards put down by KT. Kuve goes back to base, has to home guard his way out of it. Still going to lose some more CS on that turret.
Yeah, things are not too good for Kuve. But yeah, KT has done such a good job of just having enough presence around the Dragon Pit that they don't need to take it. They don't need to fight over it. They just need to make sure that Samsung doesn't get it.
They're playing this composition so well.
Yeah.
I really like, especially what we've seen Score do this game in terms of controlling the jungle, trying to minimize Kuve's ability to farm as best he can.
Yeah.
And just shut him down. They know where their lead is, and they're running with it.
And they're not trying to get kills or fight or anything like that. They're just trying to prevent Samsung from getting those.
Just have to farm right now. That's all they got to do. Just coast with their late game team composition.
True enough. Decent little CS lead for Fury in bot lane. It's still kind of tough for Arrow, but again, you know, if you live long enough, it doesn't matter. So we might be in for a bit of a long one.
Yep. That's KT's goal right here. You know, someday, look, he's not even pushing down the turret right now. He's just trying to freeze so he can draw Kuve out and continue to auto-harass him as much as possible. So this is just stalling from KT.
Yeah.
And I think this is a really positive development for KT. Again, we talked about in the early part of last season how they had so many problems playing out their composition. I mean, it was pretty ugly when they tried to play certain compositions that required a lot of teamwork and power spike timing coordination with the team, because when they played things like Juggernaut, they really didn't do too well with it. But this is a much more methodical KT Rolster team that we're seeing in this game. And not only that, but it's a differentiation from their style, which was that all-in style that we saw towards the end of the spring season. Now they're just playing a very patient late-game team-fighting team, which is not something we've seen from them.
Oh, they tried to go for the Dragon, but KT was right there again, and they get the top lane turret. Kuve mixing it up with Someday a bit in top, and has to run away almost immediately.
Yep, just delayed the Dragon right there. They're not even going to do it. Just push them off and take the advantage that they had by winning out in this top lane and getting that global gold. Kuve continuously harassed in this lane.
It has not been easy for him. But yeah, I mean, if you think about it, KT, they didn't make the playoffs last season. They came very, very close, but they've had a long time to practice, develop new strategies, kind of hone everything.
Yeah, like 3 weeks now or so.
Yeah, so,
a month,
so
maybe.
far, it's looking okay.
Nice bind. Delaying that ward being taken out just a little bit. Someday is now fighting with Kuve at the red buff.
Oh, that's right. Kuve getting very, very low. Someday, though, on the run, he ran out of Meganar, and here comes Nagne to help out. Kuve getting low. Someday over the wall. Oh, man, the Krugs helped him finish him off.
Someday didn't actually have to flash right there. Kuve's ultimate activated the Krugs, which got him killed in the end.
Someday is the king of the Krugs. Oh, meanwhile, a kill for a crown. A little bit of revenge for Samsung there.
Oops.
Yep, well, so a kill on both sides, both top laners going down, and in the end, the tiniest of gold leads for Samsung, so I think it's still pretty much even.
And there we go. Frozen Mountain now complete.
Yep, wow, Fixer just still isn't very tanky right now, so it's easy for him to take a lot of damage in these trades.
Yeah, but not going to worry too much about that. Can't always just heal up slowly over time with his E.
True. Well, Crown's been able to maintain a nice little CS lead throughout this mid lane against Nagne. And when he starts ramping up, things might get a little bit dicey.
Thing is, the problem with Cassiopeia here is never going to get close enough to deal damage. How do you get close enough? You're going to get headbutted out, you're going to get Azir ulted out, or Gnar ulted out. Almost nothing you can do with Cassiopeia to consistently DPS against KT's composition.
Oh, look at this again. KT pushing Samsung away from Dragon, and now it's their turn. They're like, all right, finally we're going to go for this. Someday zoning a little bit, trying to control that choke. They've got Samsung kind of backed into a bit of a corner there. Meanwhile, Nagne in a little bit of trouble against Crown. Dragon getting lower. KT, they really want it. Can Samsung take it? No, not quite. And now the fight begins. Cuvée coming from the side. Luna gets taken out almost immediately, and Fury on the run. That's a double kill right off the bat for Arrow. A slow onto Cuvée. We'll see if maybe they can catch up. Crown didn't even get to be a part of that fight.
It's just nothing you can do against that amount of crowd control with Samsung's composition. Yeah, they've got a couple of spell shields here, but there's simply too much, too many stuns, too many disengaged tools available to KT. I mean, Arrow, this is the dream composition for protect the AD carry.
It really is. This is about as like perfectly meta as they can get, this KT comp, and it's nice to see them finally winning with good compositions instead of just getting them, you know?
Yeah, that was pretty disappointing to see.
There's another tower down in bot lane going down. A very undisappointing thing for KT Rolster.
Yeah, look at that. Another objective, Dragon straight into the bottom turret. And if we take a look at this one again, so Nagne getting harassed right here, and see Crown, interesting, can actually get autoed into that situation. But look at all the traps now. They've got them right there, straight into the ult from Sejuani and the rocket. Luna tries to do something but gets killed before his bind can land right there.
So are you ready for a season? Well, never mind. Fight down in the tri-brush. Luna getting low again. He got trapped on the wrong side of that one. Just trying to lead his opponents on a merry chase here. There he goes. Another kill for Arrow. Oh, Arrow popping his rocket at the end there. Whoops.
It was a celebration rocket. It's the
right.
It's the fireworks after you get the kill, though.
It's a big finale. Rocket. I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about you this season, Monty.
Why?
Because traditionally when KT teams have started to be good, you'd get really excited, and then they'd always disappointed you. And I just don't want to see you go through that again, Monte Cristo.
KT won Summer last year.
Yeah, but you admittedly you said that was won by the worst team to ever win champions.
It was, that's true.
So that was like that scene in The Matrix where the person's like, not like this, not like this. Or it's like when, you know, Anakin becomes like a powerful Force user, but for the dark side, it's...
I'm okay with that.
It's what you wanted, just not how you wanted it.
So another turret goes down in the mid lane. I mean, Samsung, look at that. They basically, Score was just distracting them over that blue buff right there. He got the blue buff anyway, and there was no one to wave clear in the mid lane. So easy kill on that turret with Azir and Jinx. I mean, this is such a good siege composition as well. Azir and Jinx are going to be able to mow through towers faster than just about any other mid and AD pairing, really. So this is pretty dominant from KT.
Well, Arrow's been able to get a lot of kills this game too, so he's starting to get exceptionally fed. You know, for a team that really needs to scale into the late game, Arrow's got a very nice head start. At this rate, they might not really have to wait that long.
Yeah, and he's gotten a lot of that local gold too from the turrets.
Yep.
Turret kills 2 of them, and then the 3 kills after giving up that first blood, and he's not even that far behind in terms of CS anymore either.
Local gold totally sounds like some like Midwestern indie rock band or something like that. Yeah.
Wow, KT just going after all of the buffs right now. Total control over Samsung's jungle. Score taking both buffs away.
Wow. Well, the map is KT's right now. Samsung needs to do something pretty special if they want to have a chance to come back.
Just popping that Azir turret to prevent easy movement across the mid lane from Samsung,
right,
and bottle them up in their base so that they could apply pressure to that red buff, safely walk in there without fear of a flank coming in. Nicely done.
If you look at Cuvée right now, he got his enchantment, but all he has besides that is just a phage.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Cuvée. And there's the phage, so it will be Frozen Mallet Black Cleaver on this Gnar. That is, there's just nothing Cuvée could do. Honestly, Cuvée should probably just be building tank right now, because there's no way, even with Cinder Hulk and Trinity Force, that he's going to be able to out-duel this Gnar.
Yeah, he just needs to try to disrupt during team fights if they get a chance, but I don't think team fights are really going to go Samsung's way at this point anyway.
I understand that the thinking is that he needs damage so that he could kill Jinx, but there's so many other, with Azir as well, they do have, KT has 2 high damage threats. And how is this Hecarim even going to get in? Because he's going to get bounced out by either Alistar or by Azir as soon as he tries to flank. I mean, this is such an insane outpick in the drafting phase by KT. There's so few options for Samsung in terms of these, not only the laning phase, but these team fights. Really difficult.
Well, someday, moseying down to the mid lane. And we'll see if he can take out this ward in a moment. But it's another one of those parts of the game where KT can just kind of sit back and relax a little bit, wait for that next dragon, just keep the pressure on, and just not allow Samsung to do things. Oh, or make Cuvée do things, like use his ult to get away.
Big ult down right there. Fury trying to split push.
Yeah.
They need to get some more global gold, but they have to probably be 5K in the lead, and even in order to even think about team fighting KT at this stage. And they're down, and this pressure onto their turret. I mean, Cuvé's there, but he's getting chipped out by Arrow.
Whoa!
And they just want this turret right now.
A little bit too close to get the damage he needed with that rocket.
Someday forcing Fury's ultimate to be used as well. That's not going to be available if they even are thinking about going for this dragon. Someday has TP down, but it will be back up.
Oh, here he
about
comes.
10 seconds. So they're delaying dragon until Someday can have some presence around the pit with that summoner spell. So here we go. KT going to start it right as the TP comes off cooldown.
Yeah, they've got wards too, so they can see what angle Samsung's coming from. And it doesn't even look like Samsung's going to try to contest this. Nope, just letting that one go. And so 2 pretty easy dragons for KT so far this game. And now the wait begins again.
Well, they can do the Baron really fast. And they have good vision over that area at the moment. And again, they have great siege, so that's what they're going to do. They're going to ride this wave in with the Azir turret behind them and just start turning up the pressure. They can dive if they want to.
Will they, though?
No, well, I don't think
so.
there's. You just sit here with the Azir turret. You can see Nagne has that Luden's Echo. I'm not a big fan of Luden's Echo on Azir. I think it's pretty bad, but it does provide a slightly more poke damage in this situation.
True. You can bounce it a little bit farther than you could normally attack. But Samsung continuously just bottled up on their own side of the map, and if you look at the wards, if you look at the camps, it's all being taken by KT right now. And
this has been such a controlled game from KT, with the exception of that first blood that Samsung managed to get due to the strength of their duo lane. KT has just dictated the tempo of this game almost entirely due to some good jungle pathing from Score.
Well, Score may be able to get them something else in a moment. He's really well positioned to throw that ult in, but without the Mega Gnar, they're going to try something, it looks like. Fury already taking a lot of damage before the fight really even begins. Cuvée comes in, gets pushed back immediately, gets over the Emperor's Divide. Meanwhile, Arrow has to flash to back away, but still able to get tons of damage done. And is Score actually going to live? Eve turning away at the last moment, but Someday with the flash. Can he get the slow? He's going to turn, and I don't think any amount of snowballs is going to do the job there.
There's nothing they could do. I mean, Score wasn't even positioned. Score missed his ult right there as well. And yet there were so many disengaged tools that Hecarim could not do hardly anything at all to Arrow. And then the cleanup from Someday as well with that frozen mallet. There's just no way that Eve can escape.
Yep. And so, more of the same. I mean, the gold lead isn't that much, but you can see that it's not about the gold. It's about the champions and kind of what they bring in this case for KT. Samsung really is going to have a hard time fighting this.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They have to hope for that they get a lot of miracle picks right here so they can fight 5v4 or something like that. But they don't even really have the best composition to acquire picks with in the first place. They lack hard CC. So, yeah, this is...
They lack CC.
It's a pretty hopeless situation. I mean, it was going to be a tough row to hoe from Champ Select, but now...
Oh, wow, goodbye. Huh. Well, that was easy. KT just waltzing about, getting kills at will at this point. Kills at will. Arrow is doing exceptionally well, and he probably has a good amount of money right now, too.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he has the Shiv only, so
yeah.
He'll be looking at a pretty major purchase, I should think, coming up next, especially if they can get this turret down as well. Fixer just zoning out on the outside. And look how fast these towers are going down to Azir and Jinx.
Yeah, it's just a slow, grinding death for Samsung right now. I mean, I know Crown is playing Cassiopeia, but KT is the big snake this time, squeezing the life
the
out of their
anaconda.
opponents. That's right. They are the anaconda. And like the cool, like, actual animal anaconda, not that like bad movie from the 90s. Which did have a big anaconda in it. But oh man, Luna pops that black shield, trying to get away here. They use the scrying orb to keep vision on him. And oh, the rocket, plus a little bit of damage from Score, just enough to use his ult there as well. Crowd pushed in with that Emperor's Divide, and Arrow picks up another one. Yeah, it's getting to be a little bit of showtime now for KT.
Oh, wow, that was a really brutal Emperor's Divide, just pushing him straight into the rest of KT. Kube's going to get a turret for that, but Baron will go over to KT Rolster.
I think they're happy to trade that at this point. KT can probably use this Baron and get an inhibitor out of it at this point. Maybe go down and deal with bot lane first, but KT in an extremely good position here at around 30 minutes. Dragging up in another minute 20. And Samsung again, like, what do you do as Samsung? Do you just kind of take the time to figure out what you're going to do next game, I guess?
A lot of
as we see Luna die here.
Yeah, a lot of missed skill shots right there. The rocket does connect, the Glacial Prison does not. But look at that. That's a beautiful Azir play. He bent that soldier really well to get that long-range engage down and then popped him straight into the rest of the team. Great Azir play from Nagne. I mean, it was gratuitous, but it was mechanically well executed.
Sometimes you just have to show off, you know? Sometimes you have to bring a little bit of flair. I like it. I'm totally fine with this. Well, it was a good run, Samsung.
I mean, look at this too. Arrow doesn't even have to buy Armor Pen at this point because Kube went for that Trinity Force. There's not a Frozen Heart completed yet from Samsung, so he's not even really dealing with a lot of armor in the first place. So getting that % armor reduction, not going to do him a whole lot of favors. Might as well just get a BF Sword and a QSS on the off chance that you're hit by a Binding or a Petrifying Gaze. And
pretty much.
Someday Split Push is going to be pretty much indefensible at this point with that Black Cleaver and the Mallet.
Well, this was a game that...
it's also ridiculous, too, because that Black Cleaver enables this Jinx even more. Once that Shred starts coming down from the physical damage from Gnar, it's just going to help out that Jinx. And with such little armor, that flat penetration that it's going to give is going to do a lot of work. And here's another Dragon.
Yep, Dragon number 3 now for KT. Completely unopposed. And as a Baron buff,
I'm interested to see how Samsung's going to react in the next game because I don't think you can play. When we were looking at Samsung in the qualifiers and we looked at them playing Spenu, I was curious, did they have another strategy besides kind of let Fury take over, play Nunu, allow him to quickly push towers down? And this is, KT has picked a composition where they never really had an opportunity due to the wave clear and the fact that they have these big tank champions that are not very easy to dive.
It seems like Samsung's picks were just very reactionary last game, and they tried to just like stay safe, take things away from KT, but in doing so, they sort of picked them into something that they were less comfortable with, I think, and gave KT something that was obviously really easy to just kind of be patient with.
I think KT was also really prepared for how Samsung was going to play this game, and so they had a really good prep coming into this match so that they would be pretty much unfast pushable.
Seems that way. Well, the pushing seemed pretty fast actually for KT. Here they go. They're going to try to engage, freeze onto Eve immediately. Kube getting in the back lines onto Jinx will be able to do anything. Meanwhile, big Gnar ultimate from Someday, locking up a lot of members of Samsung. Fixer picks up the kill there, and here they come now for KT. Fury still with some health left. Arrow took some damage from Kube, but none of it is just enough. You know, they're able to sort of do what they want to, but they're not able to really finish the job. But KT, I don't think they're going to have any trouble finishing the job here in a moment. Crown pops at Zhonya's. The Score takes a bit of damage from the turret. There's an easy kill. KT very low. Whoa, there's a double kill for Fury. So overstaying their welcome a bit. Score running into that mid lane turret. He's going to just give Fury a penta, apparently. Fury does not have flash, does not have heal. He won't be able to chase, unfortunately. Oh, a kill on the way out for Nagne. Luna getting a little bit too close to the wall.
Yeah, overplaying their hand a little bit right there, trying to close the game a tad too soon.
Yeah.
But here we go. Here is the home guard by
Oh,
Nagne.
Nagne. Cuvée finds him, and Nagne trying to escape. He's getting solo, and that's an easy pickup for Cuvée. Oh, meanwhile, wow, score with a snipe onto Fury. This game's getting a little bit silly at this point, because now we're going to see score get taken out by Cuvée and Eve, I guess.
Yep, just getting slowly corralled in right now. It's going
running back and forth over the wall, up right into Cuvée.
I would have tried to die to Eve.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Score obviously not too worried. Has a smile on his face right there. Banner of Command for Luna.
Why
Interesting pickup this late in the game.
Yeah, I don't think Banner of Command is going to help too much on the Samsung side of things. Oh, well.
Well, this game's going to last a little bit longer now that the shenanigans have started from both sides. But at least Fury got a triple kill. That was exciting for us.
Yeah. Well, man, if he had had his summoners, I bet he could have gotten a penta out of that. That was actually really close.
Yeah, indeed. Very close. Well, no more Baron buff. Are they going to wait for the next one is the question. I think they've got sufficient siege that they should be able to take care of this quite easily. Nagne trying to go wrangle himself a blue buff.
Blue buff wrangler, is that his official title?
That's right.
See him at the end of films. He's the guy who wrangles the blue buff.
The Cowboy Azir skin incoming.
You see things in movies like that where it's like rabbit wrangler at the end. You're like, do you really need to wrangle rabbits? You more just kind of chase them around a little bit and then pick them up.
Well, you have to come up with a different title then, though. If you don't like Rabbit Wrangler, what is it?
Rabbit Keeper?
Okay.
Rabbit Trainer, even? Fine, but Wrangler?
How about Rabbit Lord?
Rabbit Lord? Rabbit Master.
The Rabbit Master.
King of Rabbits. That sounds like somebody's title from Game of Thrones, but I think it should work for movies too. You can't be a rabbit wrangler. You can wrangle like horses and like lions or something like that. Cattle, yep. You know, any big animal that's potentially dangerous. But rabbits, I don't know.
You're saying that rabbits are unwranglable?
I just think they're not dangerous. I mean, you get bit by rabbits, but it's not that bad. It's like, ow, he bit me.
Except for that one in Monty Python. That one's pretty dangerous.
That's not a real rabbit, Monty. That's just a movie. Nobody wrangled that rabbit. I mean, it was a real rabbit, but not really that violent. Yeah. This game's sure getting a bit Camelot at this point, though. It's a silly place. We're getting to be in a very silly place in this game.
It's going to stretch out a little bit. KT actually could have probably just sieged up the bottom side right now. They can pretty much dive a turret whenever they want as well. Yep. They're going to be as methodical as can be.
It's like one of them's typing like SKTS forever in all chat or something. All right, so now another Baron.
They're just going to wait for the dragon.
I was going to say, I was like, oh wait, dragon in 35 seconds, guys. We don't want to end it yet. Pad the stats. That's right. But the KDA stats aren't doing well when you give Fury a triple kill. Getting mixed messages here, KT.
They really could just face tank this tower right now. There's no need to play this cautiously with the large lead that they have. Someday figured out how to walk within turret range.
Oh, but then he got scared. It's okay, we got time. I'm not doing anything tomorrow, are you? All right, good.
I'm casting more League tomorrow,
right.
Noah.
Oh, yeah. Well, another inhibitor is going to get taken out here pretty soon. Samsung with a chance for one last-ditch effort fight.
That's right. Don't block the binding on your AD carry. Dodge it while your AD is attacking the inhibitor and let him eat the binding.
It's the AD's carry. It's the AD's job to dodge that, man.
He was attacking the inhibitor.
He can move. He can attack move. Arrow's just lazy, man. That's what it comes down to. He could have sidestepped that. Oh, here we go. Perhaps a final engage. No, they look like they were setting up for it, but Samsung not quite following through, and Score coming in with that ult onto Eve. Meanwhile, Cuvée into the backline's pushed away immediately by that Emperor's Divide. There goes Luna. Nice try with the ult there, but it's not going to work. Nice headbutt pulverize onto the rest of Samsung. A couple easy kills coming in for Nagne. Gets the double there, and Crown, after the Zonias, gets immediately taken apart by someday, and there we go. All inhibitors dead, check. Oh, they left the one in top lane, but it looks like they're gonna end it anyway. There we go. Fury, last man standing. There goes the Nexus. KT with a pretty smooth win here in game one.
That's what we call it, cakewalk, though.
I think so. That did not look very hard, did it? Yeah.
Well, I think that was a lot of the draft, though, so Samsung should be able to react and I think put up a better second game. They just didn't give themselves a very large margin for error right there in terms of their composition, and once they couldn't get anything done in the early game, it was pretty easy for KT just to play it patiently, wait for that late game where the strength of their composition would take over. But methodical play from KT, and I hope we'll see a more action-oriented and dynamic second game in this set.
I would imagine.